Welcome back from that rest hold, everybody. It's time for us to get into our main event for this episode, which is going to be Fantasy Booking Survivor Series 2015. If you don't know what that is, essentially it's if we had full creative control over everything that's happened from SummerSlam onward, what would we have booked for this event? The matches, the feuds that are going on, we could get more into like who would win it and what would build up to that and stuff. We don't necessarily have to go into that. I mean, there's a lot of time in between those two, so you don't need to start going into, well, this would have happened at Night of Champions and this would have happened here. You sort of kind of implied that in your vision, it all worked out okay, that kind of a thing. So I figured a good time to do it would be now because we don't have the full card set for Survivor Series. In fact, we only have 2 matches that are set, and that's the World title match and the Divas title. We know that we're going to be getting at least 1 traditional elimination match, possibly 2. We could get some kind of other sort of title matches that are in the mix and stuff, but it's all speculation for now, and that's a good way for us to not get influenced by what the current card is and just kind of go with what our opinions are and what we would do. I'm going to preface mine a little bit by saying I wrote mine before Hell in a Cell, and I specifically didn't change it just so you guys could see where my mindset was when it comes to that. And I'm actually going to admit I'm more excited for what WWE has for some of these matches than what I even would have planned. So that goes to show you that sometimes even if you think you know what's best, WWE does know better sometimes. So I'm just going to kick mine off, and I'm going to be pretty short because you guys can read some more in-depth stuff on smarkoutmoment.com, but I'm going to say here my pre-show kickoff match is The Miz against Bad News Barrett, where he's dropped the King thing, he's turned babyface, and he's feuding with one of the other guys that is good on the mic, where he can kind of, have some verbal spats between the two of them, and everybody likes to see The Miz get clocked in the face, right? So Bad News Barrett starts a feud with that. It's a good mid-card feud to kind of keep him going for a little bit. And I figured a pre-show is a good spot for that because it's something that could get the crowd warmed up. You don't have to bog down the rest of the card with anything like that. That takes us into the tag title match, which would be the Dudley Boys as the champions against the New Day. And I've been saying for a while now, I think that they dropped the ball when it came to the Madison Square Garden show. Dudley Boys should have won that match. They should have become the champions there, and Hell in a Cell could have just been, some kind of a generic rematch or something like that, or they might have just not had the Madison Square Garden match and had the title match happen at Hell in a Cell. Either way, I wouldn't have dragged it out as long to the point where now they need to get away with New Day and Dudley Boys. The Usos are coming in there. They're making it a little bit different. By now, I would have had Dudley Boys as champs and, kind of switch it up like that. U.S. title match, Del Rio's not in my card whatsoever, because I never would have expected him to be before Hell in a Cell, and I wouldn't have wanted him necessarily to come back anyway, obviously. So I figured Dolph Ziggler and Stardust would be a decent feud for the U.S. title, and Ziggler would be the champion. I thought around that time period that Ziggler would have been feuding with John Cena and doing that kind of thing, so who better after that to go with than Stardust, who's really dangerously underrated and underutilized too. They're just not doing anything with him lately. I don't know why. IC title match, Kevin Owens against Neville. Owens is the champion, of course. Neville, a good guy that he can work with in a way that can make him look good. Neville can look good as well. He, has some good spots here and there, but he comes up a little bit short, and nobody really complains because Neville's good at doing that. I think that out of all the people on the roster right now, Neville might be the best guy to lose a match and look better than what he did when he went into the match. So, Neville gets that spot. Then we go to the Divas Championship, which will be a fatal 4-way. Charlotte, Nikki Bella, Paige, and Sasha Banks. I don't know why they're ignoring Sasha Banks. I don't know what they're thinking when it comes to what Charlotte's going to do after the feud with Paige, but I think that would have been a good time to do that fatal 4-way and just ignore the Divas Revolution thing, cut ties with these teams, move away from Team Bad, move away from PCB, which is just garbage. And I do like the idea that Paige is heel in this scenario, so she would be for this too, and, kind of like stack the odds against Charlotte. 3 heels and 1 Charlotte as a babyface. Secondary main event, traditional elimination match. The heel team would be the Wyatt family, which does not have Eric Rowan in it, because I thought that he still would have been injured. But they do have Rusev and Sheamus, and they're up against the babyface team of Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Cesaro, and Ryback. I think that they really didn't capitalize on the Wyatt family and Reigns and etc. feud as well as they should have. And I wouldn't have done the Hell in a Cell match. So this would have been the blow-off, and Cesaro and Ryback and Rusev and Sheamus are just kind of thrown in the mix. They're, expendable and stuff. One of the main reasons why I would have this happen instead of the match that we're getting with Reigns and Seth Rollins is I still thought around this time that the Shield were going to be all fighting for the world title at WrestleMania. And you kind of can't do Reigns and Rollins at Survivor Series and expect it to have as much of an impact at WrestleMania. So I figured Reigns and Ambrose could be the final two survivors on their team. They end that Wyatt family feud, and then they start kind of working into some other stuff. Reigns would start to do something with Sheamus in here, win that Money in the Bank briefcase from him a little bit later on, maybe at TLC. And Dean Ambrose would win the Royal Rumble. And that's a way that you can get Reigns cashing in on Rollins, which kind of goes against what happened last year at WrestleMania. Rollins as the champion and Ambrose as the rightful number one contender with the Royal Rumble. And it would all sort of start here. Which lastly ends us off with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Rollins against either, depending on who they could get, Undertaker or Chris Jericho. I think Rollins and Jericho would be a hell of a feud. I think Rollins and Undertaker would be a kick-ass feud too, especially because Undertaker's been looking pretty damn good recently. And with Undertaker being able to wrestle a little bit more, I probably would go with him here instead. But there's nothing that would make me think Jericho and Rollins wouldn't be equal, if not better. So both of those matches, great things for Rollins to just take care of at Survivor Series, move on to another person at TLC, and keep the ball rolling. I kind of liked the idea that he was fighting a new person every month, so I would have kept that going too. And if you want any more details about some of the more specifics, go on smarkoutmomo.com, check that out. But that's it for my card. And before I move on to everybody else, I just want to remind everybody, make sure you leave your comments below. Tell us what cards you like, what you have problems with, and what your cards are too. So, out of the people on the panel, who wants to go next and tell us your card?
Well, if no one's eager, I'll go ahead. I'm a big fan of having lots of tag team matches. So, for like Survivor Series traditional tag matches, they've strayed away from that. They've only got a few now. So, I've also gives a lot of stuff for the lower card guys to do, and that's what I've got for my first match. The Usos, the Lucha Dragons, and Neville, all a high-flying team, and they can go up against Sheamus and Barrett, who are a new established tag team, Victor Connor, and Stardust. So that gives everything for these guys to do, and I'd have the Usos win it, being the sole surviving team, and give them the rub because, shit, they need something to get them back in the mix. Just to establish James Storm on the main roster, I'd have Bo Dallas do one of his typical promos where he upsets the fans. James Storm comes out, they have a squash match. James Storm's on the main roster because I think they need some more established talent, and he's got somewhat of a following. I'd do the Divas Survivor Series match just to kill off whatever's left of this whole teams and cliques things. I'd have Team Bella, so you've got Nikki, Brie, and Fox, and I'd have them wrestle Paige, Becky, and Natalya, and I'd have Paige be the sole survivor and make herself look strong as a number one contender. I'd also do what they've done and go ahead with the Team Wyatt versus Team Undertaker thing, but I would have had things play out a little differently. Instead of just attacking the Undertaker, when the cell lifts, both men are all battered, you'd have the Wyatt family come out and take out both Brock Lesnar and the Undertaker. Then they take out Kane, they brag about it, the three of them all show up to kick the Wyatt family's ass on an episode of Raw. They don't have enough power, and then Sting's music hits and they find a fourth member for their team and go into Survivor Series together.
And then Eric Rowan wins because he starts his legendary career, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd have Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the Divas title. Sasha would win, and Charlotte would woo and cry with her father all night long. I hope she cries like that. Now, for my main event, it is a Champions vs. Challenger Survivor Series match, with the stipulation being, if you survive, you get a particular belt. So Roman Reigns, and if Roman Reigns is the sole survivor, he'd get the WWE title. If the Dudley Boys did it, he'd get the tag. If Ryback, the IC. If John Cena did, he'd win his US title back from Del Rio. And I'd have the sole... What? You don't like that idea?
It's overly complicated.
Well, here's my...
Champions are on a Tuesday, and Wednesdays in the solar orbit with
some TNA booking type shit.
No, I'd be for it. People say that the Survivor Series tag matches have got no fucking meaning and pointless now. Well, add a fucking stipulation and make them mean a damn thing. It's better than just letting the fucking gimmick waste away.
Or add 8 stipulations.
All at once.
It's not that complicated. One side has champions, one side doesn't.
Wait, so what is it? It's if you're a sole survivor, you get a title shot?
No, if you win, this is actually the title's going to be on the line. So each of these guys are in a particular feud for a set of belts. If they survive, they get that belt.
So what happens if, say opposite ends are like Ryback and Owens is the IC title holder.
Mm-hmm.
If Ryback's not the person to eliminate Owens, but
no,
Ryback...
it's not like that. If you're if you're on the surviving team at the end, you win. So let's say John Cena and Ryback get eliminated, but the Dudley Boys and Roman Reigns wins. Well, the Dudley Boys pick up the tag titles, Roman would pick up the WWE. Cena and Ryback wouldn't.
So what if only one Dudley Boy wins?
I'd still do it with the tag titles changing hands, because it's still a member of that team winning.
So the whole idea is that if you get eliminated, you also want to make sure that the person that you're feuding with gets eliminated?
Mm-hmm.
So you could come and interfere?
Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of different things you could do with that.
Yeah,
it's a little
or you could just not do it at all. It's fucking...
Yeah. I don't know. See, the thing with that, as soon as Ryback gets eliminated, Kevin Owens will be like, oh, I'm good. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Yeah. Owens is a
All
prick.
right, then.
Nothing to... He can do that if he wants.
And then the Yeti comes out and he starts hugging Big Show.
And wins the Yeti Championship. The Yeti Station 4.
For the fourth time.
I hate you guys so much.
So is that the main event, or is there other...
Yeah, it's the main event.
I guess
all the titles are on the line. It better be the fucking main event.
Well, I don't know if there's some post-match thing where somebody cashes in Money in the Bank because they won the Money in the Bank.
Oh shit, then Sheamus could cash in Money in the Bank, and that'd be another title change. It'd be awesome.
Unless he lost his match earlier.
Anyway, as far as who's winning, fucking Del Rio. He's going to super kick Roman's ass after Roman pins Seth Rollins and beats the sole survivor just to piss Tony off. See?
Hit your card already. Drew or Peyton, who wants to go next?
I'll go. So for my pre-show, I just did a throwaway Miz versus R-Truth, because you see it once, you've seen it 1,000 times, so why not just make that the match of the night? Now, going on to the main card, I have an elimination tag team match, so when one of your... It's a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Elimination match. I think that's a better way of saying it. They usually have this on the WrestleMania pre-show for the past couple of years, but it's the New Days going in as champions, and they are going up against the Lucha Dragons, the Usos, and the Dudley Boys. And I'd have it build the exact way that they've been building it since SummerSlam, with the Lucha Dragons have been picking up more wins on Raw and SmackDown as of late, and the Usos debuting this past week or 2 days ago, or yesterday technically, on Raw. So we'll just have these 4 teams go at it, and the New Day somehow pick up the win again. So that will open up the card, as you may. My next match is going to be a Fatal 4-Way Divas Championship match, and it's going to be Charlotte, Paige, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch, apparently, from my notes I've had. So Charlotte's going to be the champion, and Sasha Banks is going to win the title. And, I'm not going to put more effort into explaining why this match exists, as WWE doesn't explain why Diva is... Yeah, so anyways, moving on from that. I have an... Huh? What? Anyways, my next is an elimination tag match, and it's going to be the Wyatt family against The Undertaker, Kane, Stang, and for their fourth member, they have the Dabbler himself, Chris Jericho. As Chris Jericho does have unfinished business with the Wyatt family.
Does he make an awesome surprise return that everyone doesn't care about?
Yep, pretty much.
Awesome.
They're going to be like,
go, hey, it's Chris Jericho.
Oh my god, he dabbles. He's going to be gone tomorrow. But yeah, I'll have it build kind of like the way they've been doing it the past couple of weeks, where the Wyatt family pulls out The Undertaker, pulls away Kane the next week. Sting somehow shows up, and The Undertaker and Kane turn out to be just fine. But they need to find a fourth person, and they try to find a fourth person, but the Wyatt family keeps on attacking him and dragging him away. But they find Chris Jericho, and he comes out to save the day. Oh, and by the way, the Wyatt family won this match. Moving forward, we have another elimination tag match with Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Neville, Cesaro, Ryback, and Randy Orton on one team against Tyler Breeze, Kevin Owens, Sheamus, King Barrett, Alberto Del Rio, and Stardust on the other. And the
again.
Darleo.
Darito.
Alberto Del Rio.
But the stipulation I have added to this match, now since the ratings for Raw haven't been too good as of late, I've added the stipulation of whoever teams wins, each member of that team will get a shot at the WWE Heavyweight Championship on the following weeks on Raw or SmackDown.
Oh god, that's way too fucking complicated. Oh, do it on Tuesday.
So whoever wins, they get a shot at the WWE title moving forward. And I would have Team Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Neville, Cesaro, Ryback, and Orton win, with Cesaro being the savior of them, eliminating 4 people, and being the sole survivor. Because Cesaro needs to be pushed more for some reason. They're not doing that. And for my main event, 2 people you know and love. Seth Rollins, the champ, the hero of the people, against Roman Reigns. And Seth Rollins will pick up the win because, you know, why not? Dean Ambrose will probably come out and turn heel, or a tweener maybe.
Why probably? It's your card, does he or doesn't he?
I don't know.
I don't want to be spoiled.
I don't want to spoil it, but now Seth Rollins wins just because he's the better man that day. And the whole idea is with those 6 people winning that elimination tag match is Seth Rollins still has to prove to Triple H that he's a worthy champion holder, because, you know, for some reason Triple H doesn't see the value in Seth Rollins. So that's my card. Probably the best ever. So yeah.
Ben, your last up, what do you got for us?
Well, I am a lot like Wago, where I am a big fan of the traditional Survivor Series matchup, so I included quite a few on my card as well. In fact, for my pre-show match, I have one just so people get a taste of that on the pre-show. But it's a throwaway one that's just kind of filled with people that don't need to be on the main card. I have Stardust, along with The Ascension, Wade Barrett, and Sheamus. And I would actually have this be like the whole Cosmic Wasteland group. I never would have had the Cosmic King Wade Barrett breakaway, and you could have incorporated Sheamus into this. You could be, I don't know, the Cosmic Celtic guy.
That's a terrible fucking superhero.
Cosmic twat.
Cosmic Celtic guy.
Well,
Is that what he's shouting at the top of the ramp?
it's better than Matter Eater, lad.
That's true.
And then we go against Neville, the Lucha Dragons, and the Primetime Players, who could start wearing capes or something. And that'll be our fun little pre-show match.
Oh, so we almost had the exact same match. You just not. You had the Primetime instead of the Usos.
Yeah, no titles are changing.
I would have the baby faces. I guess just do a clean sweep on this. Why not? This is all just for good times. So see them in the ring, and then all 5 of them could get together and do the millions of dollars dance. Sin Cara would probably fuck it up somehow.
I think Neville would look weird as hell doing that.
Oh, of course he would. Especially because he's so short.
Flips and stuff.
Put him like right next to Titus O'Neil.
Fucking, I was playing 2K the other day, and I was doing Neville versus Daniel Bryan. Emily comes in and goes, "Wow, it's like 2 Lord of the Ring characters fighting each other."
Nice.
What, 2 of the dwarves?
Yeah, or anyone, because everyone looks the fucking same in that movie.
Well, then we kick off the show, and we have awesome pyro and a really cool, badass set that's not just one giant screen. This is
I like how
important
you
stuff.
specifically add that in there.
Yeah, this is important stuff. The first match that we have is the current tag team champions, who I would have had debut the night after SummerSlam, since that's when we're supposed to start this, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I would have had them debut Enzo and Cass the night after SummerSlam, and I would have had them take those tag team titles on their first night in. Make a big deal with these guys come in. This would be the New Day still chasing to go after to get those titles back. You could probably do some kind of gimmick here. I would still have them in the territory of doing regular matches so that next month at TLC, that's when they could do a big gimmick match to blow the feud off. And I would have Enzo and Cass continue to retain in this match. Just a standard tag match. Nothing really to go by here. I would then do a Divas Survivor Series match. This one, I would do the current roster Divas going against a crop of NXT women. I would have Paige going around very similar to how she did, claiming that she did this whole Divas revolution when she came to the main roster. She was the first big NXT diva to come in and shake things up, winning the Divas title on her first night and do everything she did. But really, she didn't do that much. And when people look at what they're seeing now, they're not thinking of Paige as one of the big NXT divas lighting the world on fire. And so shoots up to the main roster, the 4 horsewomen, all coming together as one big unit. I see them coming into something kind of like the Radicals did when they came into the WWE. Just this group of outsiders dominating with their skill.
Dude, which one's fucking Perry Saturn?
Charlotte. Yeah, so the 4 horsewomen, Charlotte, well, in her case, men, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Becky Lynch against the team representing the main roster, Paige, Natalya, and the Bella Twins, all putting their differences aside for the betterment of showing, hey, just because we're on Total Divas doesn't mean we're no good. Because they always want to work that into the women's match somehow, so that's their way of getting it in there.
So if Charlotte was Perry Saturn and he used to wear that cow outfit, instead of saying woo, would she say moo?
Moo.
Moo!
At least she's doing something fucking different than her dad.
And then when she would cry, moo.
That's going to be one of our bullshit topics later. Which radical is which horsewoman?
We'll
I think
figure
we're talking about just moos.
Hey, leave that in the comments which one you think each one is. That's actually like a
Yeah.
fun thing. As far as who would win this match, I would say the 4 horsemen would take with this one. Perhaps have like Sasha and Charlotte be the 2 survivors, because I think those are the 2 biggest ones you would want to have as stars going forward. And that'd be that. Next, we would have a singles match for the U.S. title. Alberto Del Rio, I would have came in and did things the same way they did, going against Cesaro. I think the 2 of them would have a really kick-ass feud. I'm sure you can do some nice relevations, or whatever, to I don't know what word I'm trying to think of here. Some nice nods to the past of Cesaro and Zeb Coulter, how he used to be his manager for the Real Americans tag team.
Oh, I know relevations isn't one.
No, that was not the word I wanted to say. I don't know where I was going with that.
Do some nice elevators.
I would have
References?
Alberto Del Rio retain for now. I think he should have a nice, long, and strong U.S. title run. And I would have him win clean, too, at that fact. This should be a strong match. Like, I would give these guys a good 15, 20 minutes to go out there and wow the crowd with a good singles match. But in the end, Del Rio would win this. Sorry, Tony. The next I would have another big Survivor Series match. This, I guess, would be the double co-main event, whatever. Man, I'm just fucking up all over my words. The double co-main event, whatever. I would do the Wyatts against The Undertaker, very similar to how they did. It would be Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. I just want multiple Eric Rowans. I want there to be a lot of 5.
Just say the Wyatt family.
It'll be Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Eric Rowan against Eric Rowan.
It would go against The Undertaker, and of course Kane. He would join into his team. But they would have a really hard time filling out the rest of their team because over the last number of months, they've built up this idea that the Wyatt family just attacks anyone who would cross their paths. They did that a lot with the Roman Reigns story. They've attacked Randy Orton twice at this point, so who the heck are they going to get? Well, the only person they can get is the guy who's never there, Brock Lesnar. And that's all they fucking need. They're like, oh, we don't need a 4th guy. We can just go in there with Brock Lesnar and us 2 badasses. Yeah, we got this. Let's take this fight. So it's 4 on 3. Well, unfortunate for them, Bray Wyatt has consumed the Undertaker's and Kane's powers. So the numbers game, unfortunately, gets down on them real fast. All four of those big men are beating the shit out of Brock Lesnar, while Undertaker and Kane are mostly powerless to help. And finally, Bray commands Eric Rowan to finish him off and get the pin on Brock Lesnar. And then Undertaker and Kane are pretty easy pickings for them, leaving the Wyatt family as a strong four-man team, doing a clean sweep, standing strong with Bray Wyatt in the middle, telling us all to follow the buzzards or whatever.
They were gonna say telling us all to fuck off. Like Bray Wyatt's in there, and he's just kind of like,
fuck off.
Yeah, you see that? Fuck off.
I think it's smart to use this as opportunity to develop the next big mystic character. I mean, they're talking about this being the Undertaker's 25th anniversary. Well, do they think he's going to have another 25? So I think it's important to take the big build they've made for this being something special for the Undertaker and turn it into something special for Bray Wyatt. And the whole Wyatt family, for that matter. Especially Eric Rowan.
Alrighty, guys.
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, that's it? I thought you were your main event.
No, I said it was the co-main event.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, then.
Okay, well, in my filler match in between that and the other main event, Tyler Breeze versus Dolph Ziggler. Just keep doing what they're doing. Tyler Breeze gets the victory here. This is just a filler match between the two main events. And my big main event at the end, the Authority, led by Triple H, Team Triple H, going against Team Rock. You would have kept building things between these guys since WrestleMania, going all the way up to this. This will be the first time they actually have any in-ring interactions with each other. Triple H would have the team of himself, Seth Rollins, his golden boy, Dean Ambrose, who they would have recruited in as a heel by now at this point. He would have just gotten so frustrated with Roman Reigns that he finally would have sold himself out to his old pal Seth Rollins, who he sees probably was right all along, and he does know what's good. They also have Kevin Owens, just because he seems like a good fit that would go into the Authorities group. And Steve Borden, or as I like to call him, Corporate Sting.
Corporate Sting.
Yeah, all this respect that frickin' Sting and Triple H keep showing each other finally leads to Sting removing the face paint and putting on the suit and joining the Authority. Let's face it, we know that he could do that. If you ever watch Sting's work in the Main Event Mafia, it's basically what he did. He took off the face paint, he put on a suit, and he acted a little bit more of a heelish type of guy.
Does he have to wear the same pants that Kane does?
He had some pretty cool sunglasses.
He had some really cool sunglasses, yes. And that would go against The Rock's team, which would, of course, include The Rock, Roman Reigns, and the other three members they would keep a secret. And when we got to this night, it would show that it was the returning Usos, which everyone can get a pop out of rather than doing that on Raw, and the debuting, he's fat, Samoa Joe, because, hey, they're all Samoan. They must be yeah.
So you get Team Samoa versus the Authority.
And the cheerleaders in the corner are Tamina and Nia Jax.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're getting on board with this. In the end, I would have each person get eliminated until we're down to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns would pull out a victory on this, becoming the sole survivor, being strong on this, and setting him up very much to be the number one contender to TLC. And that's my event.
We got stuff all over the place here. We got Delios, we've got
elevator matches.
Got championships that change hands and matches that somehow include all the titles with the contenders and stuff. And then you got...
How does someone become the Divas champion in that match?
There was a Divas match earlier in the night, though.
So,
fuck you, that's why.
Sexist.
That's sexist.
Actually, that fucking fat basement dweller that always comments on our things probably would find that sexist.
What?
You got the one guy that always comments on the fucking women videos and calls us fucking sexist pigs, and you don't know how to talk to women.
The guy did it twice.
Yeah, about 5
Yeah, well, he did it during the summertime. I do recall that, but I do want to say about Peyton's main event. I think it's interesting that Kevin Owens is in there because he's a hired hunter. Give him the big bucks, he'll do what you gotta do. So
Yeah, we saw him palling around a little bit with Seth Rollins this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's smart. I think if you give him, he said he's a prize fighter.
Makes sense. I actually thought that Kevin Owens was going to be a part of the Authority when he originally came to the main roster. Looked like they were teasing that a little bit.
Well, they have like an extended family. Like
Yeah.
I would consider like him and New Day are there as well. They sort of fill the role that the Big Show was a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
What I do like your main event. The only thing that I would have changed is I would have had Dean Ambrose on Roman Reigns' team, and that's when I would have done the turn.
That's fair.
Wait, so who was Triple H's team? It was Triple H, Rollins, Ambrose,
Kevin Owens and Corporate Sting.
Corporate Sting, that's right. I couldn't remember Corporate Sting. Alright guys, leave those comments below. Tell us what you think about these cards that we suggested, and tell us what your cards would be as well if you could go back from SummerSlam onward and just do whatever your little heart pleased. We got one more thing to do. That's part 5, the Fantasy League trades and updates and current standings and everything else we need to do with that. Click on that if you're on YouTube, if you're on iTunes and Stitcher. Just sit back, relax, and we'll be right back.